The sudden flight of Madagascar's president Andry Rajoelina from the island nation marks a pivotal moment in African political history, signifying the power of a highly mobilized, connected youth generation. What began as localized discontent over chronic deficiencies in water and electricity supply quickly escalated into a national movement that peeled away the president's support, culminating in the defection of key military units and forcing Rajoelina to seek refuge, reportedly outside the country. This crisis is not merely a government change. It is a profound illustration of generational frustration transforming into political action, setting an uncertain course for the nation's future. Summary of events and key actors. The unrest commenced in late September 2025, initially sparked by severe and lengthy outages of basic utilities in the capital, Antananarivo, and across major cities. These demonstrations were organized and amplified by a decentralized, leaderless collective identifying as Z Madagascar. This group, largely composed of citizens under 30, reflecting Madagascar's young median age, used social media platforms to mobilize, adopting the pirate skull and crossbones symbol from the Japanese manga One Piece, a deliberate metaphor for seeking freedom from an authoritarian and corrupt regime. The movement's slogan, "We're tired of just surviving, we want to live," captured the depth of the socioeconomic despair. Despite the president's attempts to appease the public by dissolving his government and appointing a general as the new prime minister, the protests continued, demanding his full resignation. The critical turning point occurred when the Elite Army Personnel and Services Administration Corps, CAPSAT, a unit instrumental in Rajoelina's own 2009 coup, announced its support for the protesters and refused orders to fire on civilians. With the military balance of power lost and key officials fleeing, Rajoelina announced his departure from an undisclosed location, claiming he had to leave to protect his life. Analysis of reasons and underlying causes. While the immediate catalysts were the glaring failures in public service delivery, power, and water, the true reasons for the upheaval are rooted in deep-seated structural issues. Madagascar remains one of the poorest nations globally, with approximately 80% of its population living in poverty. This widespread hardship creates a fertile ground for dissent, especially among educated but unemployed youth who see no economic future under the current governance model. The protests represent a direct confrontation with the political elite over pervasive corruption and the alleged embezzlement of public funds. For the Gen Z movement, the struggle is not just about political power, but about equitable resource distribution and accountability. The fact that the youth-led movement rejected the government's dissolution as insufficient demonstrates a fundamental distrust of the established political system and a demand for radical systemic change, not mere reshuffling of cabinet posts. This movement aligns with a growing global trend where connected youth in the global south are leveraging digital platforms to challenge aging elites over issues of governance and socioeconomic stagnation. Consequences and immediate impact. The most significant consequence is the creation of a dangerous power vacuum. Although Rajoelina fled, he did not officially resign, leading to political ambiguity and increasing the risk of a constitutional crisis. The military, specifically the CAPSAT unit, has effectively taken control of the armed forces by installing its own nominee as the new military chief, signaling that the armed forces are now the dominant political arbiter. The security environment remains volatile. The United Nations has reported at least 22 fatalities and over 100 injuries, criticizing the initial violent response by security forces. Internationally, the African Union AU has called for restraint and adherence to constitutional order, fearing a non-democratic transition. The involvement of the military, even in support of popular protests, complicates any peaceful resolution and raises the specter of another coup d'etat, echoing Madagascar's turbulent political past. Flights have been temporarily suspended, and foreign embassies have advised citizens to shelter in place, highlighting the regional instability caused by the sudden rupture. Predictions and potential solutions. Predictions. The immediate future is highly unpredictable. There is a high probability of continued instability and fragmentation of command within the security forces. Without Rajoelina's official resignation, the country faces a prolonged legal and constitutional impasse. Military leaders, despite denying a coup, may struggle to translate popular support into stable interim governance. Foreign powers, particularly France, given Rajoelina's dual citizenship, and the AU, are likely to ramp up mediation efforts, aiming to steer the transition toward a supervised national dialogue or snap elections to prevent further bloodshed. Solutions. Any viable path forward must address the core demands of the Gen Z movement. Genuine dialogue. A national transparent dialogue involving representatives of Gen Z Madagascar, civil society, opposition parties, and non-aligned military leaders is crucial. This must be public to build trust. Constitutional reform. The system requires reform to ensure greater accountability and limits on executive power, breaking the cycle of coups and crises. Tackling corruption. An immediate and high-profile campaign against corruption, coupled with forensic audits of state-owned enterprises, especially in energy and water sectors, would address the moral outrage driving the protests. Service delivery. Prioritizing immediate investment and transparent management in infrastructure is necessary to alleviate the daily hardship that initially triggered the unrest. In conclusion, the Gen Z-led uprising in Madagascar has successfully dislodged a powerful president by harnessing digital organization and aligning civilian frustration with critical military support. The challenge now lies in transforming viral street anger into stable, accountable, and inclusive governance that fulfills the youth's desperate demand to move beyond mere survival.